Hello everyone, I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Creature Commandos. This one was Dr. Phosphorus's episode. An episode that we knew was coming, however we were not expecting what we got at all. So, the episode starts off with Rick Flag being dropped off at an emergency room by Frankenstein, although we don't see Frankenstein actually do it. But we do get to see, oh my gosh, what's her name? Waller and the other guy there to kind of see Rick Flag and trying to figuring out what's going on. So all they get is kind of like a monster dropped him off, and they were able to realize that it must be Frankenstein, and that they're going to have to try to figure out how to stop him because he's obviously going to go to find the bride to stop her from assassinating the princess. We then have Frankenstein on a helicopter, on a plane, a private plane, where he kills all of the passengers, who I'm assuming own the plane. And he smashes their skulls in and tells the pilot, I think you need to go still. And we're going to be just having me go. And the pilot's like, whatever, I'm not going to argue because I just saw what this guy did. We're going to take off. And he begins to take off that way. So then the rest of the episode is of we're going to talk about Dr. Phosphorus and his backstory, and then talk about what happened to the Creature Commandos and how it ends the episode. So Dr. Phosphorus apparently was a nuclear physicist who was trying to find a way to use radiation to cure cancer immediately, instantaneously, almost without doubt. So he had a wife who I want to say was Middle Eastern, but I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't matter. She's wearing a hijab. She's wearing some sort of dressing on her head, which is why I'm saying that. But it doesn't change much of the story. So he teams up with a mobster to try to get the funding he needed to do his research. However, apparently he did not do what was asked of him. So apparently he faked information to the mobsters, which apparently did not go over. Excuse me. Did not go over well, and apparently they decided to kill his wife and son and leave them dead in front of them, and then while they're dead there and he's crying, begins to put his hands into the blood and put his fingerprints on all over the victims and the weapons. They then put him in the machine that he created and turn it on and watch him melt to nothing. However, they then leave. He then realizes, or I'm assuming he must have figured out that he didn't die, and he was a radiating skeleton. And he begins to melt through everything, the walls and all, and realizing what he has the potential to do. So he spends the rest of his time hunting down all of those men, one by one, the first one being the leader, which he then kills the wife and the son, his wife and son, and then kills the guy. And basically explains that he's going to be running everything and how he's going to be the new mobster. So he then kills everyone that was involved with the death of his child and wife one by one in a very melty, radiated kind of way, and begins to run a massive crime syndicate, I guess the best way to phrase it, where he's in charge of everything. And everyone dresses up like him, in the sense that they use like glow-in-the-dark paint to make them all glow. He's in a nightclub dancing around, and apparently none other than Batman stops him, and that's apparently how he gets arrested. So that was the birth of Dr. Phosphorus. So we have the four of them split up. We have Weasel running in the woods, playing around. We have Dr. Phosphorus running into a home where a little girl is, where he helps feed her and everything else, plays with her outside until the family finds her, and then is like, hey, like, where's the castle? And they point him in the direction, and he takes off, walking that way. Weasel is playing with a bunch of wolves, who eventually show him where he needs to go, and he begins to go towards the castle. We then have Bride and Nina teaming up together, and apparently they hide inside of a brothel, which is hilarious. And that's when they don't think it's a good idea that they should be in there, or Nina thinks it's a great idea that they should all play games, and the bride's like, really, we're going to hang around a bunch of women who sell their bodies. That's stupid. And then the madam's like, really? You use your body as a weapon like we do. There's no difference. She was like, bride's like, whatever. So then a couple of drunk guys come in. Well, first, it's the Royal Knights who then come in looking for the bride and Nina. The madam is like, no, there's nobody here. We would know. So they leave. That's when another two drunk guys who are come in, grab one of the girls and bring her upstairs. They try to have a fun time. They apparently beat her. That's when the madam comes in and is like, that's not happening. We don't do that here. And apparently they're soups. They have electrical powers. And that's when the madam gets choked. And that's when Nina comes in with a broken bottle, stabs the guy. He goes to attack her. The bride is just standing there waiting for things to happen. The brother comes in to try to stop what was going on. She shoots the brother in the head and begins to beat the other guy to a pulp and kills him in a very brutal way. So they decide that they're going to head out, and they just ask for directions to the castle, and they go follow the direction. However, the bride now no longer has her leather jacket, so she's walking through with Nina to the castle, and the four of them team up together, and that's when Dr. Foster's like, wow, you look hot, and she's like, shut up. And the four of them are like, okay, let's go and kill the princess. So apparently, that's how the episode ends. But apparently, the next episode is the season finale of Creature Commandos, which means we are going to have a fun time. But no, we're going to have the final episode of where everything comes together. So we're going to have a big, huge fight between Creature Commandos, the Royal Knights and the Princess, and Frankenstein getting involved in some way as well. So all of that happening all at once, and then hopefully finding out the truth about what Cersei was talking about. Overall, this episode was incredible. Loved it. Thought it was great to see how Dr. Phosphorus became the way he is, and the fact that we got to see the DCEU's, or James Gunn's DCU Batman. Granted, we just see a silhouette, but still, we get to see it. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night. Bye-bye.